Should waiting while we're young tonight.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. No. No. There are a few selections that we've done once and we will never do again. If I have anything to say about it, which I get a little bit of say. Thank you. You guys for coming out and for now, this is the first time I've actually closed my city with a concert. That was fun. I'll have to maybe add that to the repertoire next time. But, wow, okay. Some of you are really loud. But I just wanted to say a couple things before we wrap this up officially. First of all, thank you for the time and effort you put in. Thank you for suffering through a 21-hour bus drive. Thank you for being willing to take time out of your schedule. A 26-hour bus drive, I know. It was scheduled for 21, and I know it's still bad. Thank you for taking your time, your energy, your sweat, a couple of cases of blood, to actually help change the course of a state, and hopefully help change the course of a nation. Now, it's not to say we can't have a lot of fun doing it. We have a serious task, but we also have a lot of fun in the process. And there's no reason people can't see us and say, wow, they care about their country, they're working really hard, they say they're Christians, and they smile, and that's weird. Most people would assume not. I've met more than a fair number. It's like, wait, you're Christian and you're happy? That doesn't make sense. You're not. Actually, it should be a lot of fun. And we try and make it that. We try and have a lot of fun when we can, and work really hard at the same time. And we had, I don't know if Jeremiah told you this today, there were people watching us throughout this weekend. There were press stories, that happens normally. In fact, the opposition knew you were coming. There were 3 press pieces that were out well before you got here, talking about what they were doing and how evil Generation Joshua is, because it's all these kids that come in and care about their country, and I'm not sure what's wrong with that. But they tried to make it that anyway. There were a couple people that were national news pieces that were watching it as well, that are on the good guy side. They were looking forward to this and saying, this is going to be an incredible thing. I don't know, what was the aggregate? It was like 50-some thousand voter contacts and more. More than that, like 60,000. So it was climbing up there, and I don't remember what the aggregate thing. The phones alone were like 45 or something. And then, it's probably like 60 or 70-some thousand voter contacts. Just for comparison, that is the entire, that is every single conservative voter allowed, essentially, in one entire county you talk. We split it out over 3, but it was like talking to essentially half a county of votes. And that's in a presidential year. This is that is a significant effect that you can have as far as how it plays out. Because the name of the game in an off-year election is turnout. And so we started the turnout game a month early. And we, I didn't even see the union folks, and normally I run into them. But that's usually because it's GOTV a month down the road, and we're ahead of them by 75,000 voter contacts, which isn't bad, okay? It puts us in a good shape. And I don't know if you guys saw it, but the polls were tightening over the last couple days. How odd. Ironically, Cuccinelli, who was down by a few points, is now within 1. Tightened up significantly. Jackson. This is none of this is a surprise. E.W. Jackson, who's the guy running for lieutenant governor, okay, is now over his opponent by 1. Okay? Now, as we said, let's do this one more time, shall we? So, here's what I'm thinking. You all come back in November, and we do it again. Except it's going to be, it'll be a little different where it's actual GOTV. You're not trying to convince someone to run a survey, you're just saying, please vote for my guy. Okay? It's very simple. The messaging is very easy, the data entry is non-existent, and it's essentially a ton of phone calls and a ton of lit. And sometimes it's drop and run, sometimes it's not going to leave stuff, other times it's a quick conversation, please vote for this guy, here's your polling location. But it's a lot faster. You can have a lot higher numbers. I've been talking to a few people, in fact there were a couple here, I don't know, you guys, I was going to get to introduce you to her and it didn't happen. But there was a lady here a couple nights ago watching you guys. Her name is Pam Pride. She used to be my boss a long, long time ago when I worked for Congressman J.C. Watts in D.C. She was his second in command. She's been around working at the RNC, conservative side groups, etc. for a very long time. Is extraordinarily well connected. Anyone here on the SATs last year, 2012? Yeah. Okay, she paid for all of you. And most of the others, okay? Yeah, I think we did all of that actually on her MasterCard. It's really nice when you have a credit limit that's a 6-figure number that you can pay off on a daily basis. I wish I had that command of cash. But she has access to people who do. And she found out about Generation Joshua a couple years ago. We reconnected back in 2008 when she decided that she wanted some ground game. And so she started looking around, and we contacted the RNC and said, hey, we'd like to do some ground operations. They said, great, we'll pay for it. Then an accountant didn't. He decided he thought it was a bad policy decision to have teenagers, of all things, representing conservatives. Epic fail. He's an accountant, okay? He's not a policy guy. His job wasn't to make decisions, his job was to move the money. So we called Pam, because he's an old friend of mine, and I'm like, Pam, we got this problem, the accountant's not sending over the money, and I can't get buses and flights. Funny, this story should be. Last year, before, this one, we're trying to get better at this, but it's a tough sell sometimes with people. And she goes, hold on, puts her phone on speaker, drops it in her jacket pocket. You can hear the door open, her head down the hall, whatever, and and she comes in, hello, whatever the guy's name was. It's like, why hasn't the money been wired over to JJ for get employment? You can hear a little bit of it coming from the other side. She's like, no, you don't understand. Your job is to do what you're told. Move the money. Let me make this clear. Move the money now, in my presence, or pack out your desk, leave, and you will lose, I will have your job, and you will never work in politics again. Is that very clear? I'm not joking. Yeah. Money transfers. We had it that afternoon. Great, okay? That's one of those friends. She's an amazing person to have on your side, and she's terrifying if she's on the other side. Thankfully, she likes us a lot. She's worked with us for the last couple of years, and she's been watching how Generation Joshua has grown and developed. We went from, in 2007, 3,000 kids nationwide, to well over 10,000 this year. Okay? That's, yeah. We've grown up by about 7,000 kids in the last 5 years, and there's not a lot of organizations in the US that can claim that level of growth, particularly when most of them are teenagers. Okay? That's downright real. We've expanded in an incredible way, and it's been really the results of you guys coming, putting your time and effort to it, going, that's really valuable, and by the way, I can have a lot of fun doing it, going and telling your friends, dragging them along, and they go back and drag their friends along. It does that. And it's quite remarkable, because we have senators and representatives, congressmen, state people, etc., who come to us and say, it's very simple. I would not be in office if it wasn't for one of Jen J's teams. We had it here in Virginia a couple of years ago. It was one of the, have you told the Bryce Reeves story? No? Anyone here who was on the Bryce Reeves SAT? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know you. 6. Okay. 7. Bryce Reeves was a guy running for a Senate seat here in Virginia. It's a state race. It was down in like Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania County, something like that. Okay? It was a very close race, and he was running against like a 20-year incumbent.